Good morning. So this wonderful morning, I'm going to be working on a crocheted cable cardigan. There is a grandmother at my kids' school that was looking to get a cardigan, not necessarily modeled against her favorite cardigan, but one that was the same size as her favorite cardigan. So she let me borrow her favorite cardigan as a, size model, and I found a pretty nice pattern. She wanted black cotton, so that is why I'm working with, black yarn. So this is cotton, 100% cotton. And here's the, unfortunately with it being black, it's a little hard to see the details over the video, but these are a smaller cable pattern that goes up. These are wider cables. And then it goes into an extended stitch after the small cable, big cable repeat. But yeah, I'm just going to be chilling this morning. I'm trying to work on it. My goal right now, I started this Friday night, and I got to probably about here Friday night. And then yesterday and a little bit of this morning. So yesterday I did this, and then I've done one row so far this morning. But my goal is every day to try and finish one ball. And then this is the I Love This Cotton by Hobby Lobby. And there's 180 yards, approximately. 3.5 ounce ball. So that's what I'm working with. And I've got a, the yarn recommends, I think, a 5mm or a 5.5. See here, check what I've been calling the nutritional facts. But yeah, 5.5. I'm using a 6, and it's working out perfect. Now for the pattern I'm following, I did not do a stitch gauge or whatever because I'm not doing this for the pattern. I'm doing this based off of the cardigan that I'm trying to model it off of. So I'm really only using the crochet pattern for the cable side of things. But and since this is a pattern, I'm not going to say what I'm doing because it wouldn't be right. Okay. I got some good news from my job a while back, a very long while back actually. I gave my notice because I need more time off, and my position was full-time salaried. So, we've got a limited amount of time off, and my company doesn't have the ability to take unpaid time off outside of a leave of absence. And I didn't, you can't take a leave of absence when you need an extra Friday off or what have you. So, I'm like, well, as much as I enjoy, I did miss something. Sorry, give me 1 second. It's because I'm getting distracted with myself. Back up. There we go. Okay. Maybe I did do it right. Let me read this. Skip working. Oh yeah, I did do this wrong. Sorry, 1 sec. I've been doing it wrong for a while then. Whoops. That's okay. I honestly didn't notice the difference, so I guess it's all right. Anyway, well, things came up with my company, and they felt that they wanted to retain me very strongly, that they wanted to retain me. So they are creating a part-time role just for me. No one will have to cover down on my work because I'm working less because in anticipation of me leaving, well, they weren't planning on backfilling my role anyway. So, I'm just gonna, oh, excuse me. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let me see here. I don't know why it looks so holy right there. All right. I guess because I'm going over this part. Yeah. Anyway, next stitch. No, I know I did this. I know I was doing it right before. Okay. Yeah. This is why I struggle with patterns. I prefer to just do my own thing. Because sometimes I just misread the pattern. And I kind of know what the end result needs to be, so I'll just do it myself. It takes longer, but then I feel like I understand it better. Here we go. But yeah, it's going to be pretty nice. I'll be limited to an average of under 30 hours a week. They're going to do like a average period look back. So it's not like each week I have to work less than 30 hours or else it's an issue. They'll actually, because of my job, it's very cyclical in nature. Whoops. So like, 1 week I might have to work 40 hours and the next week there might be 5 hours worth of work for me to do. So now instead of them struggling to come up with something for me to do, I just don't work until my normal job duties pop up for the month. So I think it's a win-win for everybody because I just needed more time off. And I was telling my boss, like, look, if HR had some sort of like pool of unlimited unpaid time off that we could take, and you just select in the system that that's what you want to do, and they bump you. And I get it. I'm sure it has to do with the fact that you can't be like hired on as full-time and get full-time benefits and then you're not even working your full-time hours because you keep taking all this unpaid time off. I get that. But I don't know. Maybe they could sort out the hour calculation it would be and how much unpaid time off they could give a year but still keep someone as a full-time employee so they don't have to deal with all that. Because sometimes you just need a day and you don't really need to get paid for it. Finally making use of my tablet I bought, I think, about 2 years ago. I've been using it on and off. I almost exclusively use it for crochet things. But right now I have a PDF up that I'm not looking at and streaming some music. So you're not listening to dead air. That's my idea of a nice Mother's Day. Because I love my kids. They're fantastic. They're so smart. They're awesome. But it's also nice to just have a day to do what I want to do. And sometimes what I want to do involves hanging out with my kids. And sometimes what I want to do doesn't. And this is just one of those days where what I want to do doesn't involve them. All right, and so then here I'm going to want to go. I was thinking about doing something like a series where I take an AI generated image of some crochet item that someone found, and then I see how close I can get to that. See how likely, how easy it is to reproduce AI crochet images in Crochet. Because a lot of AI images that I've seen that are very apparent, like even people who aren't that good at telling AI apart can tell, because it doesn't make structural sense when you crochet. So you do have to be a little bit more of an experienced crocheter to call those sort of things out. But I was thinking about that because my boss a while back had sent me, it was last year, while I was on a leave of absence over the summer, she sent me an image of a Snoop Dogg amigurumi. And I took one, she was like, "Can you make this for me?" I took one look at it, and it was so blatantly AI. But she doesn't know how to crochet. So she's like, "Oh, yep, this is definitely crochet." And I told her, I was like, I can't make that because unfortunately it's AI. But I will try and make something that I think will be similar. So, or at least we'll kind of convey what you're trying to convey with it. It was an emotional support Snoop Dogg. And man, I did such a good job. I was very proud of myself. And people were able to clearly and immediately see that it was Snoop Dogg, which was awesome. Oh my gosh. I'm not sure. I didn't zoom in on this, so I'm also looking at my hands. I'm not looking through the viewfinder, so hopefully what I'm doing is visible. It looks like it is. But this isn't like an instructional. This is just me mostly chatting to myself. Maybe to my future grandkids. This little slice of life. And this is what a lot of from what I've seen, a lot of crocheters in general don't show this part of crocheting, the long, like it doesn't matter how fast you crochet, it's still going to take time. And that's something people don't understand. And I've said it before. It is such a time consumer, which is great for me because I love it. It's just so relaxing, so zen. But you get these people that think crochet is a great fast way to make money because they see someone churning out 30 plushies in a day or whatever. And I get it. If you've got that kind of time and that's what you want to do and you're making a lot of money off it, let me go back and make sure I did that right. Then, go for it. Go for it. But I've noticed, I've seen quite the sentiment in the different crochet groups that I'm a part of, that vendor markets are getting overwhelmed by the little crochet things, the little amigurumis, the little plushies. And you can only make so many of those before the market's overwhelmed and everyone's going to have one of whatever it is that you've already made. So why are they going to choose your market to buy something from you when they already have an octopus, they already have a turtle, they already have a duck, a bee? I did see something that someone did and they did fantastic. It was an amazing idea. They designed these little cows and then they designed this milk carton packaging and they made their own blind boxes of these little amigurumi cows. I think they were selling them for far too cheap if they were planning on going to, because they went to a vendor fair. And there's also a little bit of contention with this too. Whoops. When you go to a farmer's market, a vendor style craft show, there's many. in the crochet community, and I kind of agree with them, but that's because I don't partake, that you need to be charging livable prices to actually make it a job when you put your stuff at a craft market. Let's see, which one do I need to start with here? Back loop, front loop. Okay. And unfortunately, I mean, because that's what they're trying to make a living, right? And if they have some new crocheter come into that area and have this, have their own items and they're selling them at hobby prices, which basically means maybe a little bit for your time, but mostly you're just trying to get your materials and like your cost for the booth back. Which means your prices are going to be substantially cheaper than the other people at that same market. So you're going to sell out. They're not going to sell anything because people are going to be like, oh, these prices are so much better. Because I'm not going to lie. I do the same thing when I go to a big craft area and I see crochet booths or, people have craft booths. I walk around and I check out all the craft booths because they're all, okay, they're not all going to have the same thing. People are also going to have their own unique spin on something, which is why theirs would be more worth a price increase than the other ones. But if there's a octopus that I like and I see 4 or 5 different stalls have the same type of octopus, probably even in the same color using the same yarn, maybe even the same pattern, I'm going to pick the one that's cheaper because as much as I want to support other artists, life ain't getting cheaper. Yarn certainly isn't getting cheaper. And I trust that they've made their prices to a way where I'm not taking advantage of them. So I'm going to try and save some of my money so maybe I can buy from more people than just buy one thing. So, but anyway, oh no. I hate factory knots. Let me just make sure it's not going to come undone. Yep. Freaking factory knots. All right, 1 second. Let me fix this. Anyway, so people were, she was selling those really adorable cows and the blind boxes for $7. And if you weren't selling it in the blind box, I would honestly probably charge more. More? No. I don't know. I think the blind box is such a great idea. Because no matter what, you're getting something cute. And instead of mass-produced blind boxes that's just trying to cash in on the whole gambling, gotcha, limited edition stuff, you're getting something cute and it's by an actual person. Anyway, I think she should be charging $10 for those. Just the whole concept is such a neat, novel idea. And that's like a minimum, right? Anyway, with the whole yarn thing, if I'm going to be selling my stuff at the market, I'm going to be charging more than what I charge my family and friends cost, right? Because I want my prices to try and be reflective of the other prices that are there at the market. Because I don't want to undersell someone. Now, I might have better deals in terms of buy X for X price, something like that, which might be slightly better than their deals, but, there we go. Okay. But when I'm doing things, if I'm going to do Etsy or I'm going to do custom things, those are more like job level prices. Because things that I would list there, I would do commissions. I would probably be a commission only on Etsy because I really like doing my own thing and not having to follow patterns and working with color in a unique manner. So I'd like to do commissions to where I have kind of like a baseline of what someone wants. There we go. You heading over to your mom's? Babe. Babe. You heading over to your mom's? Yeah. Alright, love you. Love you. Kisses. My husband's heading over to my mother-in-law's to help her out planting her garden this morning. And when it comes to friends and family pricing, so for family, typically, unless it's a straight up gift for me to them, and then I will charge the yarn cost. It's up to them what type of yarn they want me to use. So if they want me to do something with wool, they're paying for the wool. Sorry, but wool's expensive. Any natural fiber, except cotton. Cotton's pretty affordable, it seems. Almost, not quite, but almost on par with like acrylic and the unnatural fibers, if you will. But yeah, yarn cost for sure. And then when it comes to friends, I'll add a little bit of extra just for like a token. Okay, I know you're going to feel bad asking me to make this for you. And you want to pay me a little bit for my time, that's fine. So, depending on the size, the complexity, all that. Oh, what's going on there? 1 second. Weird. It muted and reset my audio. Fix that. Come on. There we go. Go back to my PDF. I don't need it right now because I'm so familiar with this section. But which one was I on? I think it was on that row. Okay. Just as reference, following along to make sure I'm doing it. I'm doing the right start. But yeah. So for friends, the yarn cost and then maybe a little bit extra so they don't feel like they're taking advantage of me in terms of my time. And then commissions, again, I kind of have this own like scaling cost in my mind. This one lady, she works at the Taco Bell in town, and she happened to see me one day when I was wearing my like duster length, almost duster length Hexa cardigan that I made back in January, and she loved it, and I offered to make her one. And what I'm going to do, she's insisting on paying me, but the thing is I know she's not getting paid a lot as a Taco Bell employee. The yarn cost, if I'm doing acrylic for one of my long Hexa cardigans, like a duster length, right? That's going to be no more than $50 getting the yarn on sale. I don't even really want to charge her that, but she's insistent on at least the yarn cost. So, depending on how much she's getting paid, that could be a lot of hours she's got to work just to pay for the yarn. So she was telling me she wanted to pay me for my time, and I was like, no. And the reason why I do that, why I say that, is if I accept to get paid for my time, and then I tell them how much, if I'm giving them a lowball price because I don't want them to, be put into a financial bind to buy this from me, right? Or to feel like they're compensating me, I don't want to give them a low number because then that sets the expectation between them and, other crocheters as to how much the value of that time is. So I much rather be like, look, it's this amount of time it takes for me to make something like this, but I'm going to gift my time. That is my gift to you because it takes this long. And I might even mention if I charged minimum wage, it would be this much money. And that kind of gives them the sense of how much time goes into these type of projects, which helps set the expectation, the reasonable expectation when they're buying something or they're commissioning something from someone who isn't me. They're like, I remember this one, this lady, me, said that it takes this amount of time for her to do this and it would be this price. So I need to be aware that other crocheters are probably going to charge me that much. Oh, cool. I got it in the right stitch. Yay. For some reason, it seems like I'm off sometimes, but I ended on the right stitch. And then I just put the stitch marker in here. I haven't been counting stitches because, you know, YOLO. But there we go. Just so I know exactly what the starting and ending stitch of the repeat is. See if I can get some more light in here because I realize this light keeps going brighter and darker and brighter and darker because of where my hand is. I'm going to try and get more light in here. That should work. Or not. The one thing I will say about this yarn from Hobby Lobby that I love this yarn is it is an absolute nightmare to try and do a center pull. It just comes out like a knot. So I've given up. I have to go around the side. Whoops, let's not do that yet. But unfortunately, that's also very difficult. If I put it on my spindle thing that I have, because of it being cotton and has a bit of a drape to it, it just sort of squishes itself down. And then that weight keeps it from being able to unwind correctly, which is really frustrating. So I am getting a, how do I put it? It's kind of like a toilet roll dispenser style yarn caddy that will help me when I'm working with yarns like this that just don't lend itself very well to doing a center pull, and I didn't want to get my stuff out to try and wind it. So it should work though. Almost done with this row. Yep, the music stopped again. I don't know what is going on. Let me see here. It looks like it's in a quiet period. Maybe it's on. My sound went and muted itself. What? See what's going on here. Yeah, it keeps doing something funky. Odd. It's so stupid. So I have the power setting set up so it stays in dark mode, but if I do that, then it throws a little fit. So I'm gonna have to turn it off of dark mode. All right, that might work now. We'll see. So this drives me nuts, right? So I could pull this as tight as possible, do my wraps super tight. So my tension is super tight on here. And I'm going to try and do my front post treble without getting a whole lot of yarn in this last loop. And I still end up with this much. Like, what is going on with that? You know, and it went and redid that beginning, whatever. Just struggling with my music today, I guess. Oh, see, look, I almost screwed myself up. Well, I mean, you guys can't tell because I'm not sharing this pattern because it was purchased. I'll try and put a link in the description for this one. But I got it from, so actually I was looking for a specific like appearance and I found one, but it was on Lion Brand website as part of a kit and you couldn't just buy the pattern directly, which really irritated me because it's like, I already have my yarn. I already know exactly what I want to do. I don't need this whole kit to make it. So I looked up the designer of the thing to see if she was selling it separately. I looked up the name of the pattern, and she is. She sells it separately on Etsy, which is awesome. But yeah, I'll put a link to that in the description. And while I know how to make cables, I wanted the look that she had, and I didn't want to have to sit there and try and reinvent the wheel. Now, to be fair, I am going to augment the pattern very heavily because I don't want the length that she's got. I don't want the pockets that she has. I really just wanted this particular look that she had for the front and the back. So instead of looking and looking and looking and looking and looking to try and find something that exactly fits what I want, I'm just going to take a pattern and I'm going to change it however I need to get it to do what I need it to do. It's one of the reasons why I tend to not go after any of those patterns, like not look into the patterns where it's like, you know, don't make any alterations to this pattern or whatever. It's like, well, I'm going to, one, because I can't read patterns, so I'll end up screwing it up. So no matter what, there's going to be something wrong. I wouldn't have done it exactly like you wanted me to. And then two, you know, maybe I need just part of your pattern to get the look of one thing that I want to do, but I'm not going to finish the pattern the way that you have it written. So I'll stay away from those patterns just out of respect of the artists, but it just strikes me as kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Like, I'm paying for the pattern. I should be able to use the elements the way that I want to. And as long as I'm very clear with anyone who's asking, oh, what pattern did you use? And I'm like, well, I used this pattern for this part and I used this pattern for this part. Or I changed the pattern, but something like that. If I'm upfront, like, hey, if you buy this pattern from this creator, you're not going to get the same effect as me, but you could use it as inspiration. I think that's fine. Because almost no one out there is creating a brand new crochet stitch. Everything's been found already. You make a bag, guess what? There's 1,000 other bags that are in different languages in different countries that are probably the exact same pattern as your bag. We're not doing anything new. We're just doing it in a new order. Let me make sure I did that right. Yeah. So, I'm doing the song by 21 Pilots. And the guy is talking about how he wishes that he could write a chord in an order that was new, because, with music, all the chords have been written. It's, you've got a musical scale. So there's nothing new about it. Even stories out there, it's very hard to find a story that doesn't have some sort of trope or idea behind it that hasn't been done to death 1,000 times over 10,000 years. There's new elements for sure, but like, there's this one story that I've been listening to right now that I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've read something similar to this on a fan fiction website for a completely different genre, So there's nothing out there that hasn't already been done. Like, there's, one of the crochet groups yesterday, I happened to be scrolling through and someone was looking for pattern testers, and they put up what they wanted their pattern testers to test. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. One, they didn't have any of their own finished work on there. And it was stitch graphs. It was stitch graphs. And they put their watermark on it. But I was like, dude, some of this stuff is so basic. Anyone could design this in Excel just because you shared the pictures. So she is heavily relying on people that really just can't crochet without a pattern. There was nothing that she put up that I couldn't just design in Excel and make the blanket myself. And I'm not going to. One, because stitch ones like that are really difficult for me to do because they're so boring. There's nothing at all exciting about it. You're just doing single crochets and then color changes. Or you're doing a mosaic and color changes. So you don't have any cool, interesting stitches to keep me engaged. You're just working with color. And that is some of the easiest stuff that you can do out there. So, all right. That ends this row. On to the next row. I need to repeat rows. So I think if I finish row 7, excuse me. I think if I finish row 7, I might have the height that I need before the first sleeve. I say row 7, obviously there's more than 7 rows here. But it's the repeat that I'm doing. Of course, this next one's super easy. I don't even need to. I already have this part of the pattern memorized. Just gotta flip this. Whoops. Yeah, I have to be careful when I'm looking at crochet things online because the way my brain works, I can see something that someone shares or some like clip on Facebook, a Facebook reel of like, oh, for the full tutorial, do blah. And I'm like, why do you need a full tutorial? I just saw exactly how you did it. My brain sees the pattern on the screen and just runs with it. Which is, it's almost frustrating for me because I'm like, very rarely do I need to buy a pattern. It's just ethically and morally I should buy the pattern. So I will just go, well, I'm just not going to make that. And I guess if I do make it, maybe I'll come back and I'll buy the pattern. But one thing I think that really, really irritates me, really kind of grinds my gears, if you will, is when someone takes a basic stitch, like a moss stitch, and then they put it in nice colors and all that. Let me make sure I did this right. I think I didn't. One sec. It doesn't feel right to me. No? Okay, it's good. So they'll take a basic pattern, like a moss stitch, and then they do it in a certain iterative pattern with colors, using colors to like make it pop or whatever. And then they're like, oh, you can get my pattern for this. It's super fast, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, what exactly are you selling? You're selling how many stitches you need to do across. You're selling the color, like the color way that you're doing. I mean, what are you trying to sell here? And, okay, I already did that one. Yep. If you were to buy that pattern, it would just be like, chain 180, single crochet into this stitch, then chain 1, then single crochet into this stitch, and then, chain out 1, turn your work, go do this exact same thing back, and then do this 30 times, and now switch your color, and then switch your color again. And then you're just paying for a stitch that's out there for free on YouTube, for free on Google, for free pretty much anywhere. And you're getting the width of the row count, which I find it interesting, I guess is the word. I find it interesting that there are people out there, and I get it. It's just hard for me to wrap my brain around because of the way my brain is, but that there's people out there that cannot crochet unless they're following a pattern. They're like, oh, that's great that you have this blanket in double crochets, but I need a pattern so I know exactly how many I need across. Because otherwise I would never be able to figure out the width that I need, the amount of stitches that I would need to get the width for the blanket that I want to do. You know, my brain can't understand that. And that's not, I know everybody's brain is different. But for the longest time before I kind of realized that, I was so confused whenever anyone would flood a comment section on a reel or YouTube asking for a pattern. It's like, y'all, this was she's doing a linked half post, or she's doing a linked half double crochet. Like, what more do you need? It's the slowest. She's going so slow. It's right there. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's weird. That's weird. Let me see if I can make this a little bit smaller. Nope. Okay, because I already started the recording. That's fine. Let me pull this up just a little bit, though. It's not so close to my hands. That's better. Pull this back a little bit. There we go. Much better. This part is always the funnest, she said sarcastically. This one's the boring one because I don't like working in alternating front loop back loops because I feel like it takes so much time to get into the loop just right. I got a couple different 6mm hooks. But I tend to like this one a lot, even though I have a furls hook. Furls does not seem to work well with this yarn. I have to do a tapered instead of an inline. At least it goes through really nicely. Uh-oh. Right over here is damp. Came up against my, I got a drink off to the side. So rubbed up against the side for pick up some condensation. Once I finish this round, I'll do a quick comparison to the cardigan that I'm using as reference for the sizing. Almost there. Well, hopefully at least I'm at the halfway point. This is so tedious. And then I have to be careful with my muscle memory because this is an extended single crochet. So I have to be careful to not turn it into a regular single crochet or to accidentally wrap it like a half double or double. But I will say I definitely appreciate how this is done visually. And how it feels texturally, because it's this alternating extended single crochet setup that gives us really nice texture here. So I think I'll keep at this video for another 11 minutes or so. I have a nice hour of just doing this. This next year is going to be an interesting one, I will say that. Let me make sure I did this right. Yeah. We are planning I know my mom watches these, right? So she's already obviously aware, and the kids are aware, but we're planning on homeschooling our kids this next school year. Before anyone gets all up in arms, I and my 4 siblings were homeschooled. And we all, I feel, received a really, really good education. I've got my bachelor's with, I graduated with my bachelor's in accounting, magna cum laude, so second highest Latin honors. The same day I graduated with my master's. And before anyone goes, you can't do that, the University of Texas at San Antonio has something called the Macy's program. It's the Masters of Accountancy program, and what happens is if you have the right, one second, let me look at this back loop. Sweet. If you've got the right GPA, the right coursework done in your bachelor's program, they actually invite you to join the master's program. The only thing you have to do is pay the small application fee. You don't need any of the typical master's program application process completed. You don't have to take some sort of aptitude test. It's I don't even know what they're called because I never had to take them. You don't have to get letters of recommendation from your professors to apply for it. All of that stuff is waived because they're like, we already see that you have an aptitude for this, and we'd encourage you to continue on your education so you can generate more money for the company, or for the for the college. So it makes sense that they want to reach out to those that have the potential to excel in it and may want to do it but don't want to deal with the paperwork. So I went that avenue. Graduated with my master's, and the way that it's set up, at least how it was when I went to UTSA, is while you were in the Macy's program, you could not graduate with your bachelor's. You could not have your bachelor's while participating. You could be in the master's accountancy program, but you had to apply for it the old-fashioned way. You couldn't get in through the Macy's program avenue. So if you decided you wanted to just hurry and finish up with your bachelor's, that was it. And if you wanted to get your master's, you had to apply the proper way. So I was like, well, this works for me. So I went through the Macy's program, and that meant that when I finished all of my master's coursework, I'd be able to, let me back up. I could take both my bachelor level classes, my undergrad classes, and my grad classes in the same semester. So I was taking undergrad and grad at the same time, which was pretty neat. But yeah, so that's how my diplomas that are on my wall, sometimes you see them in the background, like the edge of them in the background of my little shorts. At least the shorts that I've been doing down here in my yard room, if you will, my craft room. The 2 diplomas on the wall have the same date for my master's and my bachelor's. Now with my other siblings, of the 4 other ones, 3 do have their degrees, at least their bachelor's. And then my sister, she is better educated, I feel, than any similar aged person with her same learning conditions. So it definitely, I know that homeschooling, when done correctly, and when, I guess, I don't know how best to word it, I guess, with both parents and children that have the mindset to learn/teach, it goes really well. I know I like the fact that when I was done with my schoolwork, I was done. So the faster I did my schoolwork for the day, the faster I could do whatever I wanted, which 9 times out of 10 was reading. But yeah, I liked my free time, so I'm going to burn through my schoolwork as quick as possible. And I know that'll really help my son and my daughter. My daughter, she's a lot like me. She will power through her schoolwork. And then she likes to enjoy the rest of her day however she sees fit. And I've seen she just grabs a book and reads it. So it's perfect. My son, of course, he has periods of intense focus and then periods of not wanting to focus at all, which is fine. So we're able to work around that. We've had to do a couple weeks of distance learning, I guess you'd say, here recently. And that's how they tend to learn and work on their schoolwork, which is good because I can adapt around both of those styles of learning. And then going to a part-time role at my company lends itself even better. Both my kids read really, really well, far above their age level, I would say. Not too far above, but far enough above. My daughter, in her first grade class, they have reading groups, and you're in reading group A, B, or C, and that you'll read with other classmates. Well, when Stephanie started school for the year, they do the reading assessments, and she was so far above the other students, and not that I'm bragging, it's just this is a matter of fact statement. Her reading group was her and the teacher. She'd read so quickly through the material and so accurately that the other, it would slow her down being with the other kids. So she'd always finish her reading stuff. She'd never have to do reading at the house because she'd always finish it plus her reading homework at school. All right. Did I do this? Yeah, I did it right. Did I do it right? Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay, I did. Cool. Let's make sure. Yep, okay. So this one's done. All right, so it's just about an hour's worth of work. I've finished, 2 rows. So I feel like it's like 30 minutes a row. Maybe it's not that long, but it sure feels like it sometimes. Maybe I finished 3 rows. But I'm going to keep on this for a little bit more today until I make it through this. I'm probably going to weigh it and see how much I have left and try and estimate how many rows. But yeah. All right, well, I hope you all have a fantastic Sunday. Oh, excuse me. I'm going to stretch. I hope you all have a fantastic Sunday, Mother's Day, day in general, for whenever you're watching this. And anyone that's watching this that is working on a crochet project or a fiber art project or any DIY project at all, let me know what you're working on. All right. Have a good one.